Alright, so we've done all the black parts for the orbital launch integration tower. Most of it, though, is the gray parts, which is all the structure here. So the black parts are these shields, these arms, chopsticks, the quick disconnect arm, and the base, and the gray parts are the structure and the pulleys and so forth, and also the drawworks. He shows putting the drawworks in a different color. I don't think it's worth doing. So we're just going to put those in the same color. All right, so let's get started with that. That's a big job. It's probably the most complicated part of this part of the project. There's some reels that go on the bottom that are used to raise and lower the chopsticks. So he has them in blue and red, but I'm just going to print them in gray. That'll be a nice they fit in here in this section right here, I think. So there'll be a nice contrast with the black base. You'll be able to see them and see that, oh yeah, this is something different. Alright, so let's get our project. And we're going to import step 2. Step 3. So this is the fixed reel where the cord that so there's a place for the cord to go in that can be fixed, so that one side is fixed, the other side you roll up. That causes the chopsticks to go up and down, as we'll see later. So this is enough to print it once. So we're also going to get step 4, which is the drawworks. So we're going to center and arrange all those. Now these pieces here, these 3 pieces, don't require supports the way they're printed, so that's good. But these 3 do. So this one has a inset on the bottom, a hexagonal inset, so we want to make sure we support that. And this has this overhanging reel. I thought about printing it on this base here, on this little flap thing, and then we need some supports for the middle here, but the rest of it could print okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. One less. So place surface on bed. We're going to select this surface. Just print it this way. And then I'll put some supports in here, although this doesn't rotate or anything, so I'll put some supports in there anyway. Okay, so we're going to select these 3 items, and I'm going to use 3 millimeters, and I'm going to go ahead and put 45 because the bearings are going in here. Some metal bearings that are used to make this this shaft here rotate easily. So we want to make sure that's nice and round. So we're going to put extra supports in there, even though it's harder to get out. Okay, so now, so these holes, we're going to get rid of the supports in these little holes here. So I'm going to remove those. That's just going to be almost impossible to get out. So let's see. Move individual supports. So is that all of them there? Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We don't need to support those little holes, because what goes in there is just the end of the cord. So if they're not quite round, it doesn't matter. And probably don't need these supports here, but they'll be easy to remove, so I'll leave those. But mainly on this bearing, there's plenty of supports in here, so that these should be as round as possible. So, alright, so that looks good. So let's see how long it takes to print. Alright, so only 2 for 45 minutes. So we're going to grab one more piece. This is going into the next part of the project. After we draw this part, then we start building the tower itself. So part of building the tower is getting the assembly tool, which is this. It's the green thing down at the bottom here. It keeps these towers perpendicular. So we want to grab that tool. We only have to print one of those. We print lots of these things. So it's going to print one of those, and so we'll add it to that project we just are working on to have a little bit more to print. And since we're only printing one of them. So that's in step 5, assembly tool. Alright, so we'll just center and arrange that. Okay, so now this is a better project. I think it's about, let's just see how long it's going to take. So 3 hours and 5 minutes. And we'll go ahead and get that started, and then we'll go on to the next project.
like it printed fine. Let's see how this support material comes out, but looking good so far. Let's get it out and take a look at it on the workbench. And it took 3 hours and 17 minutes, so versus the prediction of 3:05, so about 12 minutes more. Alright, well this piece fell off just as I was bringing it over here. So this one we printed vertically. We printed on these little feet. I think it printed fine, so that's the way I would print it, instead of on its side with all this support material around it. There's, there's a little bit of, deep artifacts here, but that's going to be hidden, so. One thing important is that this hole, I'm sure you have trouble seeing it, but this is where the cord goes through to secure the end of it, so we can pull it from the other side. So this patrol material comes off really easily. This is a wind to print this way on its little feet. Everything else we printed as he arranged it. And this is support material here we have to get out for this socket. Let's see how that turned out. That came out great, so I can see a hex socket there. And this key should fit right into that. Yeah. It's a little bit loose, but I think there's supposed to be a pin or something that goes in there. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to look into that. This goes in like this. Not sure why there's more of a depression there. This is the lock, so I would say you could have made the tolerances of this a little bit tighter, but it doesn't really matter. It's just this prevents it from turning, and this one is how you turn it. So on the larger model, he's got a you put a magnet in there. That's right, a magnet in there to hold it in there. That makes sense now. On the large one, he's got a little turning reel, a turning handle to make it easier to turn this. This is going to be kind of tedious to turn, to move the chopsticks up and down. So I may print my own little handle to try to see if I can figure out some way to do it. I can put a magnet in my thing too. So that'll be, after it's all done, I'll try to figure out if I can do that. Here's the tool that's used to fix these things in place. I printed this out actually before this, so this was supposed to fit in here to fix these so that they go upright. It's got this, actually that worked okay, but it's got this sacrificial base. It's only one layer, so it doesn't really do very much. It's easier to get off if it's only one layer. But we're going to print this again with a raft, so it'll stay together better. I guess this is probably okay, but now that I have this tool on here, it seems pretty stable. This is something that this thing goes into, and it's got little slots for the feet here, so that'll lock that in. So then this doesn't actually turn; it just has a way to fix the end of the cord. And then this support, we have to get this support material out. Let's see how hard that is. Let's put it in like this, see if I can pry it out. Get it started anyway. Now, this is not easy to get out of here. I'm not sure there's no real solution the way it's designed. Well, that actually wasn't too bad, and there's some more up here we have to get out. I'm going to use that other tool, but anyway, let's try this out. Maybe from this side. I could have just done the support material from 60 degrees instead of 45, and there would have been less stuff in here to get out. When I get a chance, I'll go ahead and show you the bearings that are supposed to go in there. Let's see how those fit. So we're doing that at the same time. Yeah, so this support material is kind of stubborn here, but it should come out eventually. There. We can use our sanding, our circular or half circle sanding tool that I have to sand this down a little bit if I have trouble getting the bearing. I want the bearings to fit snug in here, and of course turn freely in the center. So a little extra material here that makes them stay in there and stay wedged. That's not a big deal. So this will all be covered up by the bearing. And then this axle. Where did that go? Here. This axle goes through here, through the two bearings, and then that's how you turn. That's how you roll up the line to raise and lower the chopsticks. All right, that turned out well. So tomorrow we're going to print this out with a raft and see if it's easier to work with.
All right, we're finally ready to start printing the launch tower itself. So that's step 5. So we have to. This is what it looks like when it's all done, I guess. Let's see. Yeah. So we have to print these parts individually and glue them together. So we start with this, the uprights, and then we have to use this tool which we printed on the previous project to keep everything squared up. Then you glue in the side frames, and use elastic bands to keep everything together. So we have those, and then you put in these support plates, I'd call them, and then you're all done. Okay. All right, so we already printed out the assembly tools. We don't need to print that again. So we need to get all the rest of the pieces from step 5. So those are over here, step 5. Let's see. There we go. So those are all these things here. So we're not getting the assembly, so we'll get the other ones. So, and then we need 4 of these. And we need 2 of these. And if you just do center and arrange, it doesn't look very good. So I'm not going to show you all the moving around that I did, but I'm just going to show you the final result. So there. So I took these 3 of these and put them up near the top here and staggered them slightly so they could be nested better. I nested these pieces in the bottoms of these. And then this one I rotated 90 degrees to the right so it would nest in here better. Not sure I had to do that, but I think I like it better that way. This one I moved up here. So now we're pretty far from the edges, especially from the 2 front corners, which is, I guess that's why I put it this way. All right, so that's, I would arrange your pieces slightly different, something like this to keep it away from the edges of the now maybe your slicer is smarter than this one as far as arranging things, but anyway, the Simplify 3D sometimes does a good job, a lot of times needs some tweaking. Alright, so let's see how long it's going to take. This will take 4 hours 54 minutes, so a little over 5 hours probably by the time you get the actual printing time done. That's not too bad. I mean, that's going to be a typical print now for the next for most of the tower because they're all the parts are similar. Some apparently are quite a little bit different. So, and we need about 35 grams of material. So good. All right, so that's our next thing to print, and we'll get that to the printer and see how it turns out. All right, everything looks like it came out great. Everything's stuck to the bed, and we're going to see how easy it comes off over on the workbench. Let's see how long it took. It took a total of 5 hours and 10 minutes versus a prediction of 4:54, so about 15 minutes more. All right, so everything had good bed adhesion, even these small parts. So let's give it a flex. And we'll off. Yeah, this could be problematic over here. One of the towers is loose now, so one of these towers got loose. Okay, let's see if I can fix that. We've got our blunt spatula, so let's see if we can. This is only this sacrificial layer is only a single layer, which has kind of poor bed adhesion. And it looks like we messed up on this piece because we should have had some support under this. So we have to reprint this, I think. Yeah, this is pretty bad, so we missed that one. All right, so we're going to reprint this piece, and I'm going to put a raft on it. It'll stick together better. Let's try that. I mean, I guess the idea is you put the you hold it up as best you can and put that fixture on there, but I think this is not sticking together very well. With a raft, I can pull the raft up and it'll give it a little more stability, so easy to put together. So let's try that. Okay, so here's our original project, and we had 2 problems with this print of this item here. So One was we forgot to put supports under this overhang, so we got to fix that. And then number 2 is this one layer print is too flimsy, so we're going to add a raft to that. So I set up this separate profile just for this item. We should be using this probably on the rest of the support segments too. So under support, so support, I rotated this pattern so it would line up with the overhang that we have. And then for additions, I clicked on raft. Use raft. I just use the default parameters. I have a couple items I use rafts on. I haven't really used rafts with version 5 of Simplify 3D, but I'm just going to take the defaults for now. And we're going to generate supports for this. So I set this to 1.0 because any bigger and it doesn't reach out to the edge of this overhang. So we're going to generate those. So these little blocks just show where the supports are going to go. They're not the actual supports yet. And let's go. And then in version 5 of Simplify 3D, you use this button here to select which models that are on your print that you want to use this particular profile for. So this time we're just only printing the section 1, column 1. Now I'm just going to print it where I normally print it because that's where we're going to print the rest of them going forward. So I want to make sure it prints in this location. So prepare to print. And actually, let me, no, that's just going to mess things up. So it looks like there's enough room for the raft in here. We'll figure that out in the next, when we print the next section, we have to adjust the position a little bit, but it's really printing this one thing. It doesn't matter. It looks like there's enough room there. Yeah. So the purple is the raft, so it's going to print, so it prints a really sparse layer, and then it prints layers on top of it so it comes off easily. So there's 3 top layers of the raft, and then there's a gap, and then it prints this thing. But it's enough to support it, I'm guessing. So hopefully it'll come off cleaner. The raft, because it has this sparse first layer, this comes off the print bed really easily. So anyway, then we can watch our supports go up. So the supports are going up. I'll just drag it over. And here is where our supports come in to play to support that overhang. So there's the overhang. You can see it's well supported. So now the bridging, I actually want the bridging to go this way, so I'm going to rotate that so the bridging goes across the support instead of the same direction. Your bridging is going to work better if it's going across the support. So I don't want to mess with the supports anymore, but since this is a separate profile, we can change the bridging angle. Let's see, fixed bridging angle. Let's try 45. It could be minus 45 or something else, but let's just try that. Some of these things are, it's possible I could figure it out. Okay, so that's not right. So we want to go 90. Fixed bridging angle. Okay, I think that'll work now. I hope anyway. Okay, so now it's zigzagging, so we want to go 135, it looks like. It's under other. Alright, let's try that. Alright, so that's going across the bridging, and the next layer I believe is going to go the opposite direction, so that's good. Alright, that's exactly what we want. Alright, so let's save that, and we'll send it to the printer. I'll save it later. We'll save it to the printer, and it's going to take 4 hours and 19 minutes. So, alright, hopefully that'll work better, and then if this works, then we'll use the raft and any more support material with the same, hopefully everything will be at the same angle and it'll keep working.
Alright, everything looks like it printed great. Now the question is how it's going to come off of the print bed. So we'll take this over to the workbench and we'll see if we can get it off in one piece and not be quite so floppy. And it took 4 hours and 31 minutes versus the prediction of 4:19, so about 12 minutes more. Okay, here's our reprinted part. It comes off easily. Now this is much more stable, and it still should come off. We're going to find out when we assemble it, but put these pieces on. And we've got our supports, so we have to take those off, but put this tool on and see how it fits in here now. It's not as floppy as it was before, so it's having a little more trouble getting in here. Maybe it's too... Let's just force it on there. Okay, so that looks good. These are much more stable. They're not just flopping around like this. This is what I ended up with last time. So I just think overall it's going to work better, but we'll find out when we actually assemble it. And let's remove the support material. I'm just going to leave that tool on there because we're going to need it. So support material printed from the raft, and it came out super clean, so as expected. There's a little bit of residual up here that can sand off, but that's no big deal. Alright, so again, we're going to try assembling this, see how easy it is to assemble and how easy it is to remove this bottom piece once it's assembled, and then we'll use that as information going forward to see if we're going to use the raft on everything else. So.
If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Post a comment if you have any questions or ideas, and I'll try to respond. That's all for now, but more videos are coming, and if you want to see them, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification icon if you don't want to miss one. This is Beta Cygni signing out, and keep looking up.